Okay, so have you ever pulled an all-nighter? Because I think I know what caused this glassy eyes deep dive request.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my eyes basically felt like two marbles glued to my face after my last one. Not a good look.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so we're talking about that glazed over, unfocused stare. I think everyone knows that look. Like, are you listening to me or are you off somewhere else?
It's funny you should say that.
Really? Why?
Because you'd be surprised how many things can cause it.
Yeah.
From completely harmless everyday stuff to those uh-oh moments when you need to see a doctor.
Okay, well, now I'm a little worried about some of the things I've seen researching this, but back it up a little bit for me. What causes that glazed over look in the first place?
It all starts with your tears,
My
actually.
tears.
Yeah, your tears, well, not the tears themselves, but that thin layer of moisture on your eyes, the tear film.
Okay, right.
That tear film is constantly working to keep your eyes lubricated and clear. But when something disrupts that moisture balance, you're tired, maybe allergies, or staring at a screen for hours, your eyes can dry out. That makes light reflect weirdly, unevenly.
And that's what causes the glassy look.
Exactly. Think of it like a freshly waxed car versus one that's been baking in the sun all day.
Ooh, okay, I get that. One's all smooth and shiny, reflecting light perfectly.
Right, and the other one looks all dull and...
Glassy.
Exactly. And just like that sun-baked car, so many things can dry out your eyes. Even a windy day at the beach can do it.
Really? I mean, I know wind dries out your skin, but your eyes too. How does that work?
Yeah, the wind actually speeds up how fast the tear film evaporates.
Huh. So even if my eyes aren't watering from, like, allergies, that wind can still dry them out.
And speaking of allergies,
Oh, don't get me started. Springtime. That's basically me waving a white flag for my eyes. Watery, itchy, the works. Definitely glassy-eyed.
that's definitely a big one. Pollen, pet dander, all that stuff irritates your eyes,
Yeah.
making the water get itchy, and yeah, even glassy.
Ugh, it's the worst. So basically anything that messes with that tear film can cause it.
You got it. I mean, even something like wearing contacts too long can disrupt the moisture balance.
Oh, that makes sense. What about dry eyes in general? That's on the list too.
Dry eyes, certain medications, hormonal changes, it can all play a role.
Yeah.
You name it.
Wow, so many things. Oh, eye surgery? I saw that one too.
You're right. Anything that messes with that tear film is fair game.
Makes sense. And I know we're going to get to it later on, but what about all the screen time we subject our eyes to these days?
Ah, yes, computer vision syndrome. We'll definitely dive deeper into that a bit later. It's a big one. But before we go there,
Hold on, before we move on, there's one more thing on this list I have to ask about.
what is it?
Dehydration.
Oh, right.
Yeah, dehydration. That one kind of surprised me. I always think about, like, athletes and extreme situations, but we're talking about serious stuff here, right? Seizures, even heat stroke.
Dehydration, especially in kids, is something to take very seriously.
Hmm.
It could really sneak up on you if you weren't paying attention.
So are those glassy eyes our body's way of saying, hey, water over here?
Exactly. People forget to drink water throughout the day, especially when they aren't moving around a lot. But even being a little dehydrated can show up in weird ways, and glassy eyes could be an early sign.
You know, this actually reminds me of one time.
And those seemingly small signals can mean big things sometimes.
You're talking about those times glassy eyes are a sign of something that needs a doctor's attention, right?
Exactly.
I'm thinking back to when I was a kid and got conjunctivitis. Ugh, not fun.
Oh, yeah.
The worst. My teacher called it pink eye and sent me home before I even had the chance to tell her it was contagious.
That's funny you mention that.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
Well, conjunctivitis can be caused by a virus, even allergies sometimes.
Wait, really? I thought it was always contagious.
Not always. It's the bacterial conjunctivitis that spreads easily.
Okay, good to know. So maybe I shouldn't have blamed my classmates after all.
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But we were talking about glassy eyes.
Right. What does pink eye have to do with glassy eyes?
Well, when you have conjunctivitis, that membrane that covers your eye, I think it's called the conjunctiva.
Yeah, the conjunctiva.
Right, so that gets inflamed,
Mm.
and all that irritation messes with your tear film.
Ah, so that's why your eyes get all red and goopy.
Exactly. Red, goopy, and, you guessed it, glassy.
Makes sense. Are there other infections that can cause that glassy-eyed look?
There's another one, yeah. You might not like this one so much.
Oh no, what is it?
It's called eye herpes.
Eye herpes. Wait, like
Eye cold sores?
cold sores, but on your IIU?
Yeah. It's caused by the same virus, actually, HSV.
Okay. Ew. I'm never making eye contact with anyone ever again.
I get it, but don't worry too much. It's not as common as conjunctivitis. Plus, there are usually other symptoms.
Like what?
Pain, redness, and you're probably sensitive to light too.
Okay, so it's not just the glassy eyes that would tip you off.
Right. Still not great, but not as scary as it sounds, maybe.
Well, I'm glad we had this talk because now I know what to look for. Besides infections, though, there are some other conditions that can cause glassy eyes.
Yeah, less common than infections, but good to know about. Like hypoglycemia, low blood sugar.
Okay, low blood sugar.
There's also Graves' disease, which has to do with your thyroid. And even cholera, although that's pretty rare.
Wow, that runs the gamut from a sugar low to cholera. So when are glassy eyes something to actually worry about? When should someone call their doctor?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always best to see a doctor if you're concerned, especially if those glassy eyes are sticking around or you have other things going on like pain or discharge or
Yeah.
your vision changes.
Okay, so listener, if you're dealing with more than just the occasional glassy-eyed moment, it's time to pick up the phone and call your doctor.
Better safe than sorry, that's what I always say.
Couldn't agree more. Now, let's talk about something that's probably affecting a lot of our listeners right now, those of us who spend a lot of time staring at screens.
Ah, yes, computer vision syndrome, CVS.
Exactly, CVS. And we're not just talking about your local pharmacy.
Right, not this time. We're talking about how all that screen time affects our eyes.
And it's a real thing, too. It seems like everyone I know is glued to their phones or computers these days.
It's unavoidable these days, almost. Think about how much time we spend staring at screens. Often we don't have great lighting or take breaks.
Ugh, tell me about it. Sometimes I'm pretty sure I spend more time scrolling than sleeping.
I feel ya. But that's what leads to CVS.
So how does all that screen time cause glassy eyes? Is it the blue light?
It's not just the blue light, no, although that does play a role. The main thing is that we don't blink as much when we're looking at screens.
Wait, seriously, blinking. That's all it is.
It sounds simple, but yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you blink, it's like spreading this fresh layer of tears over your eye, which keeps them, lubricated, healthy.
Yeah, okay.
But then we get glued to our screens, staring at our phones or computers or the TV, and we blink less. Or our blinks aren't as,
Complete.
you know.
Like we're not fully closing our eyes.
Exactly. And what happens? Your eyes dry out, which, as we've already talked about, can make your eyes look glassy.
So it's not that blue light sucking the moisture out of our eyes.
Not exactly, no. More like good old-fashioned neglect. Blink neglect, I guess we could call it.
Wow, blink neglect. I've never thought about it like that before, but it's so true. But glassy eyes are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to CVS, right?
Unfortunately, yeah. You can also get eye strain, headaches, blurred vision, even neck and shoulder pain.
Wait, neck and shoulder pain. I always thought that was just from hunching over my laptop.
It's all connected. Your body is constantly sending you signals.
We're just not always great at listening to them.
Exactly. But the good news is that there are things you can do to prevent all of that. Glassy eyes, CVS, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, let's hear it. What are your top tips for keeping those peepers sparkly clear? What can we do to avoid that glassy look? So what's the secret? Give me the magic solution.
I wish it were that simple.
No magic solution.
I'm afraid not. A lot of it is just remembering those common sense things we all know but forget to do.
Okay, like what?
Like staying hydrated. I know you've heard it before, but it's important.
Drink more water. Got it.
It really does make a difference.
Okay, I'll work on that. What about contacts? Sometimes I wear mine longer than I should, I'll admit it.
The old, I'll just sleep in these tonight excuse.
Guilty as charged.
But seriously, wearing your contacts too long or not cleaning them properly is just asking for trouble. Follow the directions and take care of your lenses.
Okay, message received. No more sleeping in my contacts. What else can I do?
Well, think back to how easily that bacterial conjunctivitis can spread.
Oh, you mean pink eye?
Right, pink eye. What's the best way to prevent spreading germs?
Washing your hands.
Exactly. Good hand hygiene is so important, especially before you touch your eyes.
Okay, so all that stuff our parents told us when we were kids.
It's all coming back around.
Drink water, wash your hands. You're full of riveting advice today.
Hey, sometimes the simplest advice is the best advice. And speaking of simple but effective, let's talk about screen breaks.
There you go, bringing it back to the screens.
It's important. Those screens are tough on your eyes. You got to give them a break every now and then.
Yeah, easier said than done when you're glued to an interesting article, you know.
That's why you need to follow the 20-20-20 rule.
The what? Is this some secret code I missed?
The 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look away from your screen.
Okay, 20 minutes.
And focus on something at least 20 feet away.
20 feet away, got it.
For 20 seconds. That's a little mini vacation for your eyes.
Okay, that makes sense. I can handle 20 seconds.
Exactly. Easy peasy.
So the 20-20-20 rule, that's one to remember. Anything else?
Well, lighting is really important too. You want to make sure you have good lighting to reduce glare.
No more reading in the dark to scare myself before bed.
Maybe not. And adjust the brightness on your screen too.
Okay, good lighting, check. What about those computer glasses I've seen? Do those actually help?
They can, yeah. They block that blue light we talked about.
Oh, right, the blue light.
And they can even help with eye fatigue and headaches. Especially if you're spending a lot of time in front of a screen, they could really help.
Okay, maybe I'll have to look into those. Worth a shot.
Definitely. Oh, and one more thing.
Hit me with it.
Posture. I know. You probably hear it all the time.
My mom's voice is in my head right now saying, sit up straight.
But seriously, it's so important for your back and your neck and your eyes. Make sure your screen is at eye level.
Okay, got it. Good posture is important. So let me get this straight. Drink water, wash your hands, take breaks, get some computer glasses maybe, and sit up straight.
You got it.
It seems like this whole glassy eye thing is totally manageable.
For the most part, yeah. Most of the time, it's temporary and nothing to worry about.
But what about those times when it's more than just the occasional glassy-eyed day?
That's when you call your doctor, especially if you're having other symptoms along with the glassy eyes.
Always good advice. So listener, as we wrap up our deep dive on glassy eyes, remember, most cases are nothing to worry about, but trust your gut and don't be afraid to call your doctor if something feels off.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, we've talked a lot about how our bodies react to all the screen time, the blue light, all of that. But it makes you wonder, what about the mental impact of all of this?
Oh, interesting question. You're talking about the psychological effects, not just the physical ones.
Exactly. All that scrolling, being plugged in 24/7, what's that doing to our minds, our sleep? It's something to think about, right?
It really is. That's a whole other deep dive waiting to happen.
And maybe we'll save that for next time. But until then, listeners, stay curious and stay tuned for more deep dives coming your way.